us all together. Lord, we gather in your name as children of a sovereign God. Forever we proclaim, to God be all glory.
Well, good morning. How you doing? It is Saturday, September 27th, 2025. Welcome to episode 455 of The Thinking Theologian as we continue our journey through the scriptures. So we're almost getting near to the end of the Old Testament. I start with the New Testament soon. So today we started the book of Haggai and finished it, Haggai chapters 1 through 2. The title of today is The House of the Lord Matters. The focal scriptures in Haggai chapter 1 verse 4, and this is what it says. It says, "Is it a time for you yourselves to live in your paneled houses, while this house lies in ruins?" So as a family, we have lived in several homes. We have the privilege of having a nice home now. However, our current home is not our favorite. We like it, but it is not our favorite. Our favorite home was in Metro Atlanta. It was on a nice sized lot, several acres. It was about 3.6 acres. And so in that area of where we lived, that was kind of unheard of, but that section had lots like that. It checked off every box we ever wanted in a house, except it didn't have stairs. Riley wanted stairs. That house didn't have stairs, but it was perfect. I mean, the lot, the house, the garage, everything about it, where it was located, it was a phenomenal place. We loved that house. I can honestly say that was a house we loved. We liked our starter home when we first got it. But our house in the Metro Atlanta area, we just absolutely loved it. The property gave us great views of the sunrise, and it was very quiet where it was located. We did not live in a place where we had an HOA either. We have one now for the first time, and it's terrible. If you've never had an HOA, don't buy a home in a place where there's an HOA. HOAs are terrible. So that's kind of a side note here. HOAs were created by the devil himself. It is awful. It is terrible. And if we ever have the option again, we will not live in a place that has HOA. Never again. And so I'm trying to give some levity there. But we loved that home so much that when we sold it, we actually both cried at the closing. It was really hard for us to sell that house. We know we needed to. It was something that God provided. God met a lot of needs through that. But that was a hard thing to do, sell that house. And I put a lot of work into that house also. So there was a lot to it. And so I say all that because a home matters and has a profound impact on the people who live in it daily. How you view the home and how you treat the home. And in today's reading, we see that the prophet Haggai asked the question to the people about the homes they're living in currently. They have nice homes while the Lord's house is in ruins. He's like, why do you get this, but my place is in ruins? The point of this question is to raise awareness that they are taking that they are taking care of what matters to them the most. Nice homes for them, but a ruined place for the Lord's glory to dwell. It's like, hey, you're making sure you're taken care of, but what about my glory and where I go and how I interact with the people? And so he's like, you're not taking care of it. So why does this matter? It matters because if we treat the Lord's house with disdain, it affects the entire atmosphere of worship. And I can tell you that I used to be for making some aspects of the worship service more modern. However, the older I get, the more tradition I desire because it brings more weight to the service. And I don't believe we have a weightiness to our services anymore, that they've almost become more like concerts and there's no expectation of why we're truly there. And I'm not saying that you can't have some modern the services. I still like some modern parts of the service, but I truly believe that we are losing the weight of what we're coming to do, to come into the house of the Lord, and it has now become something other. And I'm really not even sure how to express what I mean by that. But there's just no heaviness, no weight to the services most time anymore. Of how the music's sung, how things are done, how the preacher preaches, how people interact. There's just no weight. And I don't want to go extreme to the far other side, but I feel like there's a good mix of modern and and weightiness of some liturgical things that we can do, and the way we even approach worship to make it where we're more focused on God and not ourselves. And that's why I guess what I'm trying to say. I guess we've got so pragmatic in our worship that it's all about us and not about God. From the music that's chosen to how things are done to how things are set up, we just kind of miss it. So, for instance, I used to be big on getting rid of if I could spit it out. For instance, I used to be big on getting rid of the pulpit on Sunday AMs, on Sunday mornings, because I wanted there to be, kind of no disconnect from the people and the person speaking for God. But I realize as we've done that we've kind of lost the magnitude of the art and the worship of preaching. To now where as a person giving a speech instead of a person declaring the word of the Lord. And I think by removing the pulpit, we have caused more damage than harm. I know some people would disagree with that. I used to be on the complete other side. But now I'm seeing, have we gotten that wrong? Have we gotten it wrong? And I believe we have. However, now I understand why pulpits were built with such precision, because it elevates the task of preaching to its proper place. And I don't think we've done that now. And even you listen to preachers preach, there's no heart of the weight of what they're doing. It's more of a show. I'm just trying to find out a word. It's more of a show what people are doing instead of a passion for God to declare His glory. And so the pulpit hides the minister behind the most sacred calling. We're behind the desk because it's not about us. That we shrink behind the desk because what we're called to do is greater than anything we could ever imagine, and we're behind here because we are less than what the words are spoken, and it's not about us. And so I also love hymns, especially contemporary hymns. Why? Because these songs make much of Jesus, and He is the focus of worship. My feelings are not important, and that is what true worship is all about, because it's based on truth. And so I'm not a real big fan of a lot of contemporary music in worship services. Sometimes I don't explain that well enough. If you personally want to listen to things on your own personal time, I guess that's okay if you want to do that. But when we come to corporate worship, when the songs are about you and how you feel and what's going on, you miss the point of worship, because the point of worship on a Sunday morning is not about you. It's about God and giving Him glory. And when those songs make it about you, about how you feel, how God is doing something in you and what's going on, we miss that. And some older hymns do that too. But if it's not about raising Him up and glorifying who He is and what He's done and how He acts, and how He works in the lives of people, we miss that, how He's changing sin and He's changing people from death to life. This is what it should be. Not about us being overcomers or getting things we want, or other things that some of these other songs say. I'm trying to be careful here. I don't want people throwing rocks at me, because they get mad over what's happening. And so if you want to listen to those songs, you have every right to do so. But if we're listening to these songs and it takes the emphasis off of God and puts it more on us, and there's a problem, and we miss the weightiness of what we're trying to accomplish. And a lot of people, and statistics will back me up on this, I don't have them in front of me to quote, but the younger generation are looking for more liturgical services and actually looking for more weight in the service, and not what we're seeing with the rock concerts and other things that are going on. They want, like, hey, I'm here to get fed, to be changed, and what you're giving me does not match up with who God is, and they want more, and they're not getting that. And right now in our culture, there's the opportunity to take advantage of that. And take advantage of it in a good way. Not take advantage of people, but take advantage of what they're looking for and saying, you want more of God's glory. Here is God's glory, and we expect Him to do the work. We're not trying to impress you by by the other things we're doing. And so when you go to the house of the Lord, examine your motives and your heart. Why are you going? Do you want God's glory to be seen, or do you want your preferences to be the priority? So let's have a heartfelt conversation over making much of the Lord's house. So let's really and truly see how the Lord works and what He does, because it does make a difference. So be encouraged today. Understand that the house of the Lord matters, and how we approach the house of the Lord matters all the way. But also understand this: the people will respond to how the preacher, the leader, and the eldership of the church leads. And if they don't have a weightiness of the service, the church won't. The people will always reflect the attitude of the person or the persons making the majority of the decisions. So if there's an issue, yes, the people may be rebelling. More often than not, it's the people in charge who are making these decisions that are causing the majority of the problems. And they need to see the weight of glory and understand who God is. So tomorrow we'll be in Zechariah chapter 1 through 7. Thank you for being with us.